Hello, welcome to another video from lightspeedstats.com, the sister site to Betfair trading community, where we talk exclusively horse racing and, more importantly, the horse racing back testing system that I'm about to show you through, because we have got a maiden strategy for you today, and I'm going to show you how that came about. I'm also going to show you how you can tweak and improve your strategies using software like this. So if you haven't already signed up to lightspeedstats.com, go do that now. It's 50% off for your first month. You won't regret it, but you can also see it for cheap and see whether it's something you actually want to be a part of. And so many of you are, by the way. Thank you to everyone who has got involved as we build this fantastic service. So anyway, I want to talk about maidens today because I was speaking to someone yesterday who was a horse racing punter, and they were talking about how they often think maidens struggle. Favourites in maiden races struggle, and kind of reasons for that. You know, if they've not won before, you know, why would you necessarily expect them to do at short odds? And I said to him, well, I've actually got software that can test this for you. I said, and he said, oh, great, can you go and test it for me? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So that's what we're doing today. So let's go through the strategy. I'm going to go from the ground level up in case you're new. But when you get to the software and the strategy builder in the software, just click New Strategy. That will bring up a strategy. Usually it will be called something like New Strategy 1. As you can see, I've got a New Strategy 4 and 5 here. I've already named this one on today's date and just called it Maiden. So I've clicked on that. And then on the horse selection rules, these are the rules we've got so far. There is one more rule I'm going to add, but I wanted to show you how I do that and why I do that. So classifications. Well, we know we're looking for maiden races. That's where the theory of the strategy has come from. This is why it's always good if you just have a little bit of an idea of what you want a strategy to be. In fact, if you're not sure, or if you've got some idea but you're not sure how to translate it into a strategy on here, just let us know. Email info@lightspeedstats.com and we will help you get that set up. But anyway, the other thing I've selected here is favourite, obviously from the favourites section. I think it said like favourite BSP when I selected it. Let's see if I can get it. There. So favourite BSP, that's what I selected for that. So this is only going to show horses that are favourites. Country is Ireland and Northern Ireland, and I went through that because it showed quite clearly that Ireland was much better than UK for this. Well, obviously Northern Ireland as well, which is part of the UK, is good. And also Betfair starting price 1.01 to 4. Most favourites are going to fit in that range. We found that favourites above those odds actually performed a bit better. And again, this is more about taking on short price favourites. I don't really consider a 6, 7, 8 horse a short price favourite. Betting rules, we're just laying here to £10 stakes to BSP. Very simple, not even closing the trade, it's just a straight lay. And again, when you're backing it, laying at these kinds of odds, you can just straight lay and it's not too bad, you're not taking massive risks there. And then what I want you to do with your strategies is, this section is really important, customize results. What you want to do is go to this breakdown and pick what you want to look at in the results. So here I've picked age, BSP, number of runners, going course, country, month, year. Okay, very simple, very straightforward. There's a bunch of things you can pick however many you want. I tend to only pick the ones I actually want to look at because it does take a bit longer to load the results when you do test it. But yeah, pick what you want to there, and then you're just going to run the strategy very simply to see the results. Okay, so here are the results. Solid profit here. But a wild graph. So if you look at the snake graph here, it's really picked up in the last year or so, but it can have some highs and lows and certainly some peaks and troughs, right? So there's one more tweak I want to make to try and stabilize that a little bit, and that's what we're going to do, and we'll see how it gets on. On the breakdown, like I say, you can look at things like courses. You can see which courses perform well, which ones don't, especially ones that perform really badly. I do think you can get rid of some of those, but you don't want to over filter for backfitting purposes, so we're not going to do that here. The one thing I do want to look at, and I always like looking at, is number of runners. And as you scroll through here, you can actually see that number of runners makes quite a big difference. So overall, I don't know if you can see these. Oh, you can't see these numbers. My face is in the way, isn't it? But anyway, most of these numbers are negative up until you get to 10 runners. Okay, 10 runners is profit, 11 is profit, 12 slight loss, but so minimal you wouldn't want to change anything. And then scroll down, and 15's one that has taken a hit, 352 down, so 30 odd points down. And 16, 17 are in profit, but 18 isn't. Now you can't quite see that on this screen at the minute, but hang on, I might be able to scroll this up for you. There you go, look at that, brilliant, right? But then once we get past 17, it's downhill again. So I think it's very clear here that you have got a range of runners 10 to 17, and that makes sense. You want to beat a short price favourite, you want a fair amount of runners, but you don't want too many. You don't, because then again, the price, you know, if you're a short price favourite and there's loads of horses, there's probably a reason you're the short price favourite. Same when there's only a few horses. Obviously, if you're a short price favourite, you know, there's a better chance you're going to win. Here you've got a good opportunity because you're kind of that in between, 10 to 17 runners. So anyway, regardless of that, what really matters is just adding that in as another rule, and that is actually going to be our final rule here. So let's go to number of runners, which is fairly near the top. There we go, and we'll add that rule. And remember, we want the value 10 between 10 and 17. Probably easier if I just wrote it out, but I can't be bothered to type. There we go. Okay. And again, all we're doing again is running that through again now that we've updated this. And again, that's how easy you can tweak a strategy. Okay, so much better performance in terms of profit, solid ROI per bet. Remember, this is looking at ROI per bet, not in terms of per bankroll. Because you'll see the bankroll increase here. Still can be quite a bumpy ride, so that's something to be aware of with this strategy. Oh, and if you want me to put this strategy in the software for you, which I'm happy to do, just let me know. Obviously, just message me. But then again, it's a straight lay strategy, so you're going to get variance. But it is interesting, isn't it? It's never really hit too low. It's never really gone much below the starting bank. And you know, at the minute it's done well. So there you go. That is a lay maidens in Ireland strategy. I think one of the key things here is the runner's stat, and I think that's one thing I'd really say. Once you've looked at the odds, which is a no-brainer, once you've looked at country and race types, things like that, I think it's really important to look at things like numbers of runners, because I've noticed in races certain strategies just work so much better. In fact, there's another maiden strategy I will share with you. I won't do it straight away because obviously we've just done a video on pretty much the same thing, but maybe in a month or so, where we're looking at even shorter price favourites, and it has a different range for runners. But it's really interesting how that can make quite a big difference. But yeah, like I say, it's so easy to tweak, so easy to change things, it's so easy to find something that could work for you. Again, I wouldn't just straight back a strategy like this. I wouldn't start putting money on these lays straight away. What I would do is I would forward test it for a while just to check that that it works, B, that it's something I want to trade. But again, I like the fact that here we haven't really done any backfitting as such, because you know we've got a couple. That's every strategy out there pretty much is going to have 2 or 3 criteria that really matter. And the key things here is that it's a maiden. We're obviously going for the favourite. We've chosen a country that works, and then all we're looking at other than that is price, which pretty much every strategy is going to be looking at price, and then runners, which again I think is a really important one for this, because you know if you're going to lay against favourites, you want some runners and you want some horses capable of beating them, right? So anyway, that's a solid strategy that we've created right here. Again, would need to be forward tested. Beautiful thing with Lightspeed Stats is you don't need to keep forward testing it. You could come back to this strategy. You could create this today and come back to this strategy in a month and then see how it's performed in the last month. And you don't need to do anything. All you need to do is run those results again. Click next, run the results, and it will tell you. Okay, and then you might go, hey, I've got a strategy here I'd like to trade. But that's kind of what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to be using this software to create your strategies. And the idea of these videos really is to get your creative juices flowing. If you do want a copy of this strategy, just say the word Maiden in the comments and I will get that in. I'll put it in the software for you. I need to export it actually. Let's export it so I can do that. Get that saved. Again, how easy was that? I've literally just saved the strategy. I mean, unbelievable, right? So anyway, that's it today, I think. And I hope you make some money trading the horses on Betfair.